My question is would you be willing to do more of them again? And if so, which musicals would you love to parody?
Well, those parodies called Road to Broadway is essentially paving the road for Allegiance. We want to get the word out about Allegiance. And so, you know, there's Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
So George really wants to be in drag.
Well, I did that already in Sister Act.
Sister Mary Teriyaki.
Sunset Boulevard.
You mean play the young writer?
I think more of Norma Desmond.
So we haven't selected one yet, but yes, the road to Broadway is paved with many spoofs.
Yeah, I was going to ask whether you see any parallels with the internment with kind of today, the treatment of Muslim Americans.
Yeah, I mean, even knowing ahead of time the story we were going to tell, of course, the fact that the story was so relevant with respect to things that this country had done, was getting close to have done, constantly on the fear and on the verge of potentially doing, but we don't want to sort of kind of hammer that on the head. It's not like we try to be cautionary or try to draw that peril. It's so poignant that we heard it from people seeing early versions of the show. This is so incredibly actual, and this it's a very, very important story to tell, because it will have the power, if nothing else, to sort of have this story be known and top of mind, even for people that may actually not know. You would be surprised how many people we have encountered along the way that actually did not know that America had imprisoned its own citizens because of the way they looked.
There's a moment in the show early on where, and in an earlier version, it was the day of Pearl Harbor when the people are hearing it for the first time, and their entire lives change on a dime. Suddenly, you're the enemy. And
the day that changed everything.
Yeah, Muslim Americans who have seen the show come up and say, that's how I felt on 9/11. And we understand that there's a historical context to this and a historical parallel that can be drawn to today, not only in that story, but also in the love story, and there's a forbidden love story between the young version of George, young Sam, and the daughter of the internment administrator, who's white. And in 1942 in Wyoming, you could not intermarry if you were white and Asian. And so the father says, this is against God's laws and man's. And people who are gay have seen that and said and drawn a parallel to their own situation today.
And the mother is telling the daughter, just pretend these feelings aren't there; they'll go away.
Right.
Why would you make your life difficult for yourself?
So there are many moments in the show where you feel like the applicability of our modern questions remains. And that maybe we haven't learned as much as we should have from that experience, or maybe we're all still learning. And so we like to think that this show has a lot of current application to today's questions.
When 9/11 happened, Japanese Americans immediately knew what might be happening to Arab Americans. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees of the Japanese American National Museum, and at that time in 2001, I was the chairman of the board. And we organized immediately a candlelight ceremony in the courtyard, in the plaza of the Japanese American National Museum. And we invited leaders of the Arab American community to join us. And because the museum happens to be 3 blocks away from City Hall, that candlelight ceremony turned into a candlelight march to City Hall and back. A little over a month after 9/11, we organized a symposium in the Great Hall of the Japanese American National Museum. And we invited a leader from the Japanese American community, an older leader who who remembered the experience as an adult, and a leader from the Arab American community. We had the executive director of the Human Relations Commission of the County of Los Angeles. We had the executive director of the ACLU, and we extended an invitation, or also the Sheriff's Department, and we extended an invitation to the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, to join us. The FBI was the only group to demur, but we had that symposium moderated by Kitty Feldy of the NPR station, and it was broadcast on NPR. We were very conscious of what might happen with to the Arab American community, and we organized to get that parallel story out as our effort to prevent the kind of wholesale political act that happened to Japanese Americans, and thank God it did not happen to Arab Americans, but there were an awful lot of, for example, the mosque issue near Ground Zero. I mean, that was a completely hysterical, racist reaction there. So we need to continue to keep reminding America at times of great stress like that how fallible we can be, and to try to temper that as we can. And certainly with Allegiance, we will be contributing to that effort.
Now, along the same lines of the parallels between then and now,